Good evening, dear listeners. Welcome to a gentle exploration into the tranquil past, where we will embark on a serene journey through the history of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols. As you settle into a comfortable position, allow yourself to drift away from the pressures of the day, embracing the soothing cadence of this narrative designed for your relaxation and peaceful slumber. In the soft glow of a candlelit room, imagine the serene countryside of medieval times, where the air is filled with the gentle clucking of chickens and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. Picture the quaint manors, surrounded by lush greenery, where every daily task was carried out with a sense of purpose and rhythm. Here, in the heart of these peaceful landscapes, we find the humble yet significant practice of maintaining chicken coops, a task that was as essential to the livelihood of the manor as it was calming to the soul. Tonight, we will gently unfold the layers of this meticulous practice, revealing the careful planning that went into creating cleaning timetables to ensure the health of the chickens and the happiness of the manor's inhabitants. We will explore the delicate art of feather disposal, a task often overlooked, yet vital to the overall harmony of the medieval household. As we delve into these seemingly mundane rituals, you will discover the beauty and tranquility that lies in the details of everyday life. Our journey will take us through the origins of these practices, tracing back to the earliest days of poultry farming in medieval Europe. You will learn about the various methods employed by hardworking manor serfs, whose dedication to their tasks reflects a deep connection to the land and animals they cared for. Each cleaning schedule was not just a chore, but a sacred rhythm that echoed through the seasons, offering a sense of stability and comfort amidst the ever-changing tides of life. We will also touch upon the significance of cleanliness in these coops, how it contributed not only to the well-being of the chickens but also to the overall health of the manor. The meticulous attention to hygiene ensured that the clucking inhabitants thrived, providing eggs and meat for the family, sustaining the very heart of the medieval diet. As we unveil the protocols for feather disposal, you may find yourself enchanted by the gentle care with which these tasks were approached, as every feather carried with it a story, a memory, and a connection to the past. As you listen, allow your mind to drift like a feather on the breeze, floating freely through this serene landscape of history. Each detail we discuss will be crafted to lull you into a state of relaxation, encouraging you to let go of the day's worries and embrace a world where time moves slowly, and the simplest tasks bring comfort and peace. So, dear listeners, as we prepare to step into this gentle narrative, I invite you to take a deep breath, letting the air fill your lungs, and then exhaling slowly, releasing any tension you may be holding. Allow yourself to become fully present in this moment, ready to be carried away by the soothing stories of medieval life. With that, let us now embark on our journey into the tranquil world of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols. May this exploration not only enrich your understanding of the past but also guide you toward a restful night's sleep, filled with pleasant dreams. The past awaits, and we shall now uncover its secrets together. The history of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols is one that has been largely overlooked in the annals of historical scholarship. However, a thorough examination of available documents reveals a fascinating yet monotonous tapestry woven through the intricate fabric of feudal life. This account explores the origins, administrative procedures, architectural details, and daily routines pertaining to the maintenance of chicken coops in medieval manorial estates, commencing with the earliest historical records. The earliest identifiable reference to chicken coop maintenance can be traced back to the year 1066, following the Norman conquest of England. The Domesday Book, commissioned by William the Conqueror, includes entries indicating the presence of poultry on manorial estates in regions such as Kent and Sussex. It is documented that the manors of these areas employed specialized laborers, referred to as poultry keepers, who were responsible for the care and management of chickens. Notably, the manor of Petham in Kent, as recorded in the Domesday Book, employed such individuals, indicating that poultry was an essential component of the estate's food supply. By the late 12th century, particularly during the reign of King Richard I, 1189 to 1199, the administrative procedures surrounding poultry management became more formalized. The Manor of Housesteads, located in Northumberland, provides an illustrative example of this development. Historical records indicate that the steward of the manor established a rigorous cleaning schedule for the chicken coops, which dictated that coops were to be cleaned every fortnight. This schedule was meticulously recorded in the manor court rolls, which documented not only the cleaning but also the disposal of feathers, a key aspect of coop maintenance. In terms of architectural details, chicken coops in medieval manors were typically constructed from timber, with thatched roofs, and often situated in close proximity to the main dwelling for ease of access. The coop at Housesteads was approximately 12 feet by 8 feet, featuring a dirt floor that facilitated the collection of droppings and feathers. This design was practical, as it allowed for efficient cleaning while also providing adequate shelter for the chickens from inclement weather. The coop was often elevated from the ground, allowing for better drainage and reducing the risk of vermin infestation. The daily routines of poultry keepers were dictated by both the needs of the chickens and the administrative protocols established by the manor's steward. A typical day began at dawn, with the poultry keeper tasked with feeding the chickens a diet primarily composed of grains and kitchen scraps. The feeding schedule was strictly adhered to, with records indicating that the chickens were fed at the same time every day to ensure optimal egg production. Following the feeding, the keeper would conduct a visual inspection of the coop, checking for any signs of disease or distress among the flock. Cleaning the coop involved a systematic approach. The poultry keeper would first remove the chickens from the coop and place them in a secure area nearby, ensuring their safety during the cleaning process. Once the chickens were removed, the keeper would proceed to clear out the soiled bedding, a mixture of straw and chicken droppings, which was then transported to a designated area for composting. The importance of this step cannot be overstated, as neglecting to remove the bedding could lead to unsanitary conditions and a decline in the health of the flock. After the soiled bedding was removed, the coop itself would be swept and scrubbed with a mixture of water and lime, a practice that was believed to help mitigate odors and reduce the presence of harmful pathogens. The steward mandated that this cleaning process be conducted every 2 weeks, although records indicate that some keepers may have opted for more frequent cleanings in particularly high-traffic coops. The disposal of feathers, a consequential yet often overlooked aspect of coop maintenance, was governed by strict protocols. Feathers were collected during the cleaning process and stored in a designated. For example, many coops were built using a technique known as wattle and daub, where a framework of woven branches, wattle, was covered with a mixture of clay, mud, and straw, daub. This method not only provided insulation but also helped to keep out predators, which were a significant concern for medieval farmers. The daub was typically applied to the structure after the wattle framework was secured, often taking place in the spring months when the materials were more pliable. In terms of layout, a typical medieval chicken coop would often be situated close to the main dwelling, allowing easy access for the farmer. The coops were usually rectangular, measuring about 10 to 12 feet in length and 6 to 8 feet in width, providing enough space for a small flock of hens, which could range from 10 to 50 birds depending on the size of the household and their requirements. The height of these coops typically reached around 6 feet, allowing enough headroom for the farmer to move about comfortably when tending to the chickens. Roofing materials varied, but thatch made from straw or reeds was common due to its availability and cost-effectiveness. Thatching techniques involved layering bundles of straw in overlapping rows, secured tightly at the edges with ropes or wooden pegs. This method not only provided excellent insulation against the cold but also helped to shed rainwater effectively, keeping the interior of the coop dry. Some coops in wealthier households might have roofs made of wooden shingles or even tiles, but these were less common among the peasant class. Ventilation was also a critical consideration in coop design. Farmers understood that adequate airflow was essential to maintain a healthy environment for their chickens. Small openings were often left near the roofline to allow for the escape of heat and moisture, while the lower part of the walls remained solid to protect the birds from drafts and predators. In addition, some coops included nesting boxes built into the walls, often made from leftover wood scraps. These boxes were typically about 12 inches wide and 12 inches deep, providing a cozy space for hens to lay their eggs. Historic documents reveal that in 1455, a taxation record from a rural village in England noted the presence of poultry houses, indicating the growing recognition of chicken coops as essential agricultural structures. Additionally, various medieval texts, such as the Book of Farming, written in 1470, included guidelines for poultry management, highlighting their increasing importance in medieval society. The chickens themselves were often a mix of breeds, including the native landrace birds and some imported varieties that were brought over from the continent. Farmers selected for traits such as egg production and hardiness, leading to the gradual development of distinct local breeds. These birds were typically kept in the coop at night to protect them from nocturnal predators like foxes and weasels, and were allowed to roam freely during the day to forage for insects and seeds, which contributed to their diet and overall health. In conclusion, the construction and design of chicken coops during the medieval period were deeply influenced by the available materials, local customs, and the evolving agricultural practices of the time. The integration of functional design with local building techniques resulted in structures that not only served the purpose of housing poultry but also reflected the social and economic conditions of medieval life. As poultry farming grew in prominence towards the end of the medieval era, these coops laid the groundwork for future innovations in poultry housing that would emerge in the centuries to follow. The construction methods and materials utilized in the building of chicken coops during the medieval period were dictated by local availability, technological advancements, and the socio-economic status of the manor. Typically, the frame of a chicken coop was constructed using timber, which was readily available in the majority of rural areas. The most common tree species utilized for this purpose included oak, Quercus robur, which was valued for its durability, and pine, Pinus sylvestris, which offered ease of working and a lower cost due to its abundance. Measurements for the wooden framework often adhered to standard dimensions, with base widths ranging from 2 to 4 feet and heights between 6 to 8 feet, accommodating the average height of an adult chicken while allowing sufficient headspace for handlers. The walls of these coops were frequently built using wattle and daub techniques. Wattle, consisting of interwoven branches and twigs, formed a sturdy base, while daub, a mixture of clay, straw, and dung, provided insulation and protection against the elements. The use of wattle and daub was particularly prominent in regions with access to clay deposits, allowing for a high degree of customization in wall thickness, typically measuring between 4 to 6 inches. Roofs were generally thatched with straw, a material that not only provided insulation but also facilitated water runoff, critical in preventing moisture accumulation that could lead to disease. Roof pitches were often calculated to reach an angle of 30 to 45 degrees, ensuring that rainwater would effectively drain away. The maintenance procedures for chicken coops were structured and often recorded in manor accounts, detailing the frequency and methods of cleaning. Cleaning was mandated to occur at least once weekly, coinciding with the end of the workweek on Sundays, when laborers would have some respite from other agrarian duties. The process involved the removal of soiled bedding material, typically straw or hay, which was replaced with fresh bedding to minimize the accumulation of harmful bacteria and parasites. Measurements of the bedding material were standardized, with a replacement ratio of approximately 1 to 2, meaning that for every 1 unit of soiled bedding removed, 2 units of fresh bedding were introduced. Feather disposal protocols were similarly meticulous and often included in the manor records. Feathers, a byproduct of poultry rearing, were collected during the cleaning process and stored in designated bins. These bins were typically constructed from wood and measured approximately 3 feet in height and 2 feet in diameter. Once filled to capacity, the feathers were either disposed of through incineration outside the coop to prevent attracting vermin or repurposed for various domestic uses, such as stuffing pillows or insulation. The incineration site was required to be at least 30 feet away from the coop to avoid any potential fire hazards. Financial records and costs associated with the upkeep of chicken coops were meticulously maintained by the steward of the manor. An average wooden coop would incur initial construction costs estimated at 10 to 15 shillings, depending on the quality of materials used. Subsequent annual maintenance costs averaged around 5 shillings, accounting for the purchase of fresh bedding, repair of any structural damage due to weather or wear, and the occasional replacement of roofing materials. In some records from the late 14th century, it was noted that a single coop could house anywhere between 10 to 20 chickens, with each chicken producing an average of 200 eggs annually. This led to a calculation of approximately 2 shillings in profit per chicken per year, thus illustrating the financial viability of poultry farming within the Manor system. Personnel involved in the maintenance of chicken coops were often drawn from the ranks of the peasant. The roof of the chicken coop was typically constructed using thatch, which was made from water, reed or straw, layered at an angle of approximately 45 degrees to facilitate runoff. This design prevented the accumulation of water, which could lead to the degradation of the roofing materials. Thatching required a meticulous process, with thatchers often employing bundles of reeds measuring up to 3 feet in length and securing them with twine made from animal sinew or jute. The average thatching job was estimated to cover about 120 square feet and could take up to a week to complete, depending on the complexity and height of the structure. Maintenance procedures for chicken coops were essential for ensuring the health of the poultry and the efficiency of egg production. Regular inspections were mandated, typically occurring weekly, with a checklist that included checking for structural integrity, assessing the condition of the roof, and examining the walls for any signs of rot or pest infestation. A record of these inspections was often maintained in a ledger, detailing the findings and any actions taken. Cleaning schedules were established to promote a sanitary environment for the chickens. The floor of the coop, typically covered with straw, needed to be replaced every 2 weeks. This procedure involved removing all old bedding and thoroughly cleaning the floor with a mixture of water and wood ash, which acted as a natural disinfectant. The coop was then allowed to air out for a minimum of 24 hours before fresh straw, measured to a depth of 6 inches, was laid down. This task was often assigned to the youngest members of the household, typically aged between 10 and 14 years, who were paid in kind with small portions of eggs or additional food rations. Feather disposal protocols were another crucial aspect of coop management. It was common practice to collect feathers during the regular cleaning of the coop. Feathers, which could accumulate to a significant volume, averaging about 2 pounds per week in a coop housing 10 hens, were typically discarded in a designated area located at least 50 feet from the coop to avoid attracting pests. This area, often referred to as the feather pit, was usually a shallow hole measuring 3 feet by 3 feet, into which feathers were placed along with other organic waste. The pit was then covered with earth to prevent odors and deter scavengers. Financial records associated with chicken coop maintenance and management provide a window into the economic realities of medieval agrarian life. The costs associated with the construction of a chicken coop, based on records from the early 14th century, ranged from 6 to 12 shillings, depending on the size and materials used. The price was significantly influenced by the availability of timber and labor costs, which averaged about 1 penny per day for a skilled carpenter. In terms of ongoing maintenance, costs were minimal but critical. Annual expenditures for straw bedding were estimated at 4 pence per coop, while feed costs for a flock of 10 hens typically amounted to about 2 shillings and 6 pence annually, including grains such as barley and oats. The financial records often indicated a practice of barter, where laborers might exchange services or goods for a share of the egg production, which was not uncommon in rural communities. Personnel involved in the maintenance and operation of chicken coops were typically categorized into specific roles. The primary caretaker, often referred to as the poultry keeper, was responsible for the daily feeding and care of the chickens, as well as maintaining cleanliness within the coop. This position was usually filled by a family member, often a woman or child, who would spend approximately 30 minutes each day on these tasks. Additional roles included the feather collector, often the same individual, who would ensure that accumulated feathers were disposed of according to the established protocols. This dual role was common, as many chores in the medieval household overlapped, and it was not uncommon for individuals to take on multiple responsibilities throughout the day. Technical specifications of the medieval chicken coop were not solely limited to construction and maintenance. The interior space was designed to maximize the welfare of the chickens, with perches typically set at a height of 2 to 3 feet off the ground to allow for natural roosting behaviors. These perches were constructed from timber, with individual lengths averaging 4 feet, allowing enough space for each hen to perch comfortably. Nesting boxes were another vital component, with each coop typically containing 3 to 4 boxes, constructed from wood and measuring approximately 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches. These boxes were positioned in a quiet corner of the coop, often lined with straw or soft hay, to encourage hens to lay eggs. The strategic placement was crucial, as hens preferred a secluded area for nesting, which directly influenced egg production rates. Ventilation was also considered in the technical design of the coop. Small openings, typically measuring 6 inches by 12 inches, were incorporated into the upper sections of the coop walls to promote airflow while preventing drafts. This feature was essential for regulating the internal temperature and humidity, with records indicating that maintaining an internal temperature of approximately 60 degrees Fahrenheit was optimal for the health of the hens. In conclusion, the detailed exploration of the construction methods, maintenance procedures, financial records, personnel roles, and technical specifications of medieval chicken coops reveals a structured approach to poultry management that was essential for sustaining agrarian households. The meticulous attention to these mundane yet critical aspects of daily life underscores the significance of even the most trivial tasks in the context of medieval society, highlighting a world where order and routine were paramount to survival and productivity. The tedious history of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols. Part 6: Regional Variations and Comparisons. In the vast tapestry of medieval Europe, the practices surrounding chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal were not monolithic but rather exhibited a plethora of regional variations. These differences were influenced by local customs, climatic conditions, and agricultural practices, which in turn shaped the daily lives of manor inhabitants. In the temperate climes of England, for instance, chicken coops, often referred to as henhouses, were typically constructed from timber and thatch, reflecting the readily available materials. Cleaning timetables in this region often followed a bi-weekly schedule, aligning with the lunar calendar, as many medieval farmers believed that the phases of the moon directly influenced livestock health. This belief prompted the practice of lunar cleansing, whereby coops would be scrubbed and disinfected in accordance with the waxing moon to promote fertility among the hens. Conversely, in the more arid regions of southern France, chicken coops were often constructed from sun-baked clay and straw, allowing for easier airflow but requiring a different approach to cleaning. Here, the cleaning protocol was often dictated by the seasonal shifts. During the hot summer months, Coops were cleaned weekly to mitigate the smell of ammonia, which could attract unwanted pests. Feather disposal in southern France was often more ritualistic, with feathers being burned. As the Middle Ages progressed, particularly by the 12th century, there was a gradual shift towards more organized agricultural practices. The emergence of feudalism and the increasing importance of poultry as a source of sustenance and income led to the establishment of more formalized cleaning schedules. Manor lords began to implement standardized cleaning practices across their estates, recognizing the economic benefits of maintaining healthy flocks. This period saw the introduction of written records, cataloging the cleaning timetables, which were often inscribed onto wax tablets or parchment. By the late Middle Ages, the advent of the agricultural revolution brought about significant advancements in farming techniques and tools. The introduction of more sophisticated cleaning implements, such as metal shovels and rakes, allowed for more efficient removal of waste. The cleaning of chicken coops became a regulated aspect of manor life, with specific days assigned for cleaning and maintenance, often dictated by the liturgical calendar. Such timetables were meticulously recorded in manorial ledgers, reflecting a growing bureaucratic approach to agricultural management. Moreover, the rise of trade guilds and the burgeoning market economy led to increased scrutiny of agricultural practices. The enforcement of hygiene standards became more common as towns and cities began to establish ordinances regarding the sale of poultry. This marked a significant evolution in the role of chicken coop cleaning, transitioning from a domestic chore to an aspect of public health concern. Part 9: Bureaucratic Regulations and Laws. As the medieval period progressed, the increasing complexity of agrarian economies necessitated the establishment of bureaucratic regulations governing the cleaning of chicken coops and the disposal of feathers. These regulations were often codified into local ordinances or broader legislative measures, reflecting the growing recognition of the importance of hygiene in agricultural practices. One notable example is the 14th-century statutes of various towns in England, which mandated specific cleaning protocols for poultry coops. These regulations often specified the frequency of cleaning, the materials to be used, and even the methods of disposal for feathers and waste. Failure to adhere to these regulations could result in fines or other penalties, as local authorities sought to maintain public health standards amid the growing urban populations. In addition to local ordinances, broader regulatory frameworks emerged during this time. The Statute of Winchester, 1285, for instance, included provisions related to the maintenance of public spaces and health, indirectly influencing agricultural practices, including the management of chicken coops. The emphasis on cleanliness was reflected in the language of these laws, which often invoked the need for clean and wholesome conditions for livestock, including poultry. Furthermore, the establishment of the role of the poultry inspector in some regions signified a formalization of oversight regarding chicken husbandry. These inspectors were responsible for ensuring compliance with cleaning regulations and the health of the livestock, thus introducing an additional layer of bureaucratic oversight that had not previously existed. The implications of such regulations were profound, as they not only shaped the practicalities of coop cleaning but also reinforced the interconnectedness of agriculture and public health. The enforcement of these laws contributed to a greater awareness of the importance of sanitary practices, which would lay the groundwork for future agricultural reforms. Part 10: Supply Chain and Logistics. The logistics of chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal in medieval manors were intricately linked to the broader agricultural supply chain. The management of poultry was not an isolated endeavor; rather, it was part of a complex web of agricultural practices that included crop cultivation, livestock management, and local trade networks. The supply chain for cleaning materials was often localized. Straw and hay, common bedding materials for chicken coops, were typically sourced from nearby fields, harvested and stored by the same families that maintained the coops. In regions where grain production was prominent, such as the fertile plains of northern France, the abundance of straw facilitated a relatively straightforward supply chain. However, in areas with less agricultural output, securing adequate bedding materials could be a challenge. This often required bartering with neighboring households or even traveling to distant markets, a process that could be time-consuming and labor-intensive. In terms of logistics, the timing of coop cleaning was crucially linked to the agricultural calendar. The busiest times for cleaning typically coincided with post-harvest periods in late summer and early autumn, when households had the time to dedicate to such tasks. This necessitated careful planning and coordination among families, especially in villages where communal cleaning events were the norm. The logistics of executing these cleanings involved not just the physical labor of cleaning but also the management of tools and materials, which were often shared among neighbors. Feather disposal, too, was governed by logistical considerations. In many regions, feathers were collected and repurposed, either for use in bedding or for sale in local markets. This created an additional layer of complexity in managing the waste produced by chicken coops. Households often maintained records of feather quantities and their subsequent uses, reflecting a broader understanding of resource management that was essential for survival. The interdependence of these logistical aspects underscores the importance of chicken coop management within the larger framework of medieval agrarian life. The realities of supply chains and the practicalities of logistics were not merely ancillary concerns; they were critical components that influenced the efficacy of coop cleaning and the overall health of poultry populations. Part 11: Record-keeping methods. The methods employed for record-keeping related to chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal during the medieval period reveal much about the administrative practices of the time. As agriculture became more regulated and systematic, the need for meticulous records grew. This was particularly true on manorial estates, where lords and their stewards developed comprehensive systems to track various aspects of agricultural production, including livestock management. In the early medieval period, record-keeping was often rudimentary, relying on oral traditions and simple notations. However, as literacy rates improved and the use of written records became more prevalent, the methods employed grew increasingly sophisticated. The introduction of charters and manorial rolls in the 12th century facilitated more formalized record-keeping practices. These documents often included sections dedicated to the maintenance of chicken coops, detailing the dates of cleanings, quantities of bedding materials used, and any issues encountered relating to poultry health. The use of wax tablets and ink on parchment became commonplace among the literate classes, with many manors employing scribes to maintain these records. The meticulous nature of these records often included annotations regarding the weather conditions, which could significantly impact the health of the chickens and the effectiveness of cleaning protocols. For instance, a wet summer might lead to increased humidity in coops, necessitating more frequent cleaning, a detail that would be noted for future reference. In addition to formal records, informal methods of tracking cleaning schedules were also common. Many households employed simple wall calendars or marked stones to denote cleaning days. These methods, while less formal, were nonetheless effective in ensuring that coop maintenance occurred regularly. In summary, the evolution of record-keeping methods related to chicken coop cleaning highlights the growing sophistication of medieval agricultural practices. The transition from oral traditions to written records not only improved accountability but also fostered a culture of diligence and care in the management of poultry, reflecting the intertwining of daily chores with larger economic and social structures. In conclusion, the history of chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols during the medieval period is a multifaceted narrative that encompasses regional variations, evolution over time, bureaucratic regulations, supply chain logistics, and record-keeping practices. While seemingly mundane, these aspects provide invaluable insights into the lives of medieval people, underscoring the significance of agricultural practices and their impact on health, hygiene, and community cohesion. The tedious history of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols has reached a crucial juncture in its exploration of the intricate and often overlooked mechanisms that govern the daily lives of medieval manors. This segment will delve into the regional variations and comparisons, the evolution of practices over different time periods, the bureaucratic regulations and laws that shaped these practices, the supply chain and logistics involved in maintaining the coops, and the meticulous methods of record-keeping that chronicled every detail, however mundane. #### Regional variations and comparisons. The cleaning protocols for chicken coops varied significantly across the diverse regions of medieval Europe, influenced by local agricultural practices, climatic conditions, and cultural attitudes toward poultry husbandry. For instance, in the southern regions of France, where the climate was more temperate, chicken coops often featured open-air designs that facilitated natural ventilation. Consequently, the cleaning schedules were less frequent, typically occurring every fortnight. The mild winters allowed for a more relaxed approach to hygiene, as the risk of disease was lower due to the natural desiccation of waste. Conversely, in the colder, damp regions of England, where the prevalence of avian diseases such as fowl pest was alarmingly high, cleaning timetables were considerably more rigorous. English manor houses commonly mandated the comprehensive cleaning of chicken coops on a weekly basis, with thorough inspections conducted by the manor's steward. These inspections ensured that all traces of waste were removed and that the bedding, often a combination of straw and sawdust, was replaced to maintain a hygienic environment for the fowl. Moreover, the specific methodologies employed in these regional practices also varied. In parts of Italy, the practice of using herbs such as rosemary and thyme within the coop was commonplace, believed to ward off pests and disease. The act of scattering these herbs was incorporated into the cleaning protocol, thus intertwining hygiene with local botanical knowledge. In contrast, the Scandinavian approach leaned heavily on the use of lime, a practice derived from the necessity to combat the harsh winter conditions. Lime, when applied to the coop floors, not only neutralized odors but also acted as a desiccant, absorbing moisture that could lead to the proliferation of bacteria. #evolution over different time periods. As we traverse the timeline of medieval Europe, it becomes apparent that the practices surrounding chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal underwent significant transformations from the early medieval period through to the late Middle Ages. Initially, during the early medieval period, the cleaning of chicken coops was a rudimentary affair, often relegated to the women of the household, who relied on rudimentary tools, such as wooden scrapers and woven baskets, to manage the waste. This practice was largely informal and dependent on the availability of time and labor within the household. However, as the feudal system solidified and manorial estates began to flourish, the introduction of more structured cleaning protocols emerged. By the 12th century, manors were employing designated laborers specifically tasked with the maintenance of poultry enclosures. This shift marked a significant evolution in the perception of poultry as a critical resource, leading to more formalized cleaning timetables. It was during this period that we see the genesis of written protocols, albeit rudimentary, outlining the frequency of cleaning and the disposal of feathers. By the late Middle Ages, the rise of urban centers and the burgeoning market for poultry products necessitated an even more systematic approach. The invention of new cleaning implements, such as the improved pitchfork and the introduction of metal scrapers, revolutionized the effectiveness of coop cleaning. This period also witnessed the emergence of guilds related to poultry farming, which began to codify best practices and standardize cleaning protocols across regions. The resulting documents provided a wealth of information on the optimal times for cleaning, seasonal adjustments based on weather patterns, and detailed instructions on proper feather disposal. #bureaucratic regulations and laws. The medieval period was characterized by a burgeoning bureaucratic structure, which sought to regulate various aspects of life, including agricultural practices. In this context, the cleaning of chicken coops and the disposal of feathers did not escape the watchful eye of local lords and governing bodies. By the 13th century, several regions had instituted laws designed to promote public health and mitigate the spread of disease among poultry. One notable example is the Statute of Fowl, enacted in England in 1285, which mandated that all manor houses must maintain a log of their poultry cleaning schedules. The statute specified that records should include the date of the last cleaning, the method employed, and any observations regarding the health of the chickens. Failure to comply with these regulations could result in fines or, in severe cases, the confiscation of the flock. Furthermore, during the Black Death, the urgency of maintaining sanitary conditions became paramount. Local authorities implemented stricter regulations regarding coop cleanliness, often sending inspectors to ensure compliance with established protocols. These inspectors were empowered to fine or penalize those who failed to adhere to the mandated cleaning schedules, reflecting the intertwining of public health concerns with the management of poultry. Hashtag supply chain and logistics. The logistics of maintaining chicken coops extended beyond mere cleaning practices. They encompassed a complex supply chain that involved the procurement of bedding materials, cleaning agents, and the disposal of waste. The sourcing of straw, for instance, was a critical component of coop maintenance. In regions where straw was abundant, such as the grain-rich plains of northern France, it was common for manors to establish contracts with local farmers to secure a steady supply. This practice not only ensured that chicken coops remained dry and comfortable but also fostered local economic ties. In contrast, areas where straw was scarce had to innovate. In parts of Wales, for example, the use of heather became prevalent as a bedding material, which was both plentiful and effective in absorbing moisture. This adaptation highlights the resourcefulness of medieval communities in managing their poultry under varying environmental conditions. The logistics of feather disposal were no less complex. Once feathers were collected, they were often transported to designated disposal sites, which varied by region. In some areas, feathers were composted and used as fertilizer, while in others, they were burned to prevent the spread of disease. The methods of disposal were closely monitored to prevent environmental contamination, with local ordinances dictating the appropriate procedures. The establishment of designated dumping grounds was a reflection of the growing awareness of sanitation and waste management in medieval society. Hashtag record-keeping methods. Record-keeping in the context of chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal was a meticulous endeavor, often overseen by the manor steward or designated scribes. The evolution of record-keeping methods paralleled the increasing complexity of agricultural practices. Initially, records were maintained in ledgers made from animal skin, known as parchment, with entries made in ink derived from natural dyes. These ledgers documented not only the cleaning schedules but also the health of the chickens, the quantity of eggs produced, and even the consumption of feed. By the late medieval period, the use of more accessible materials such as paper began to gain traction, allowing for broader dissemination of record-keeping practices. The introduction of the quill pen, coupled with the development of standardized formats for entries, streamlined the recording process. It was not uncommon for manors to employ multiple scribes to maintain detailed records, ensuring that all aspects of poultry management were documented in a systematic manner. The meticulous nature of these records cannot be overstated. They served as crucial documents that informed future practices, and their loss could lead to dire consequences for the manor. In fact, the importance of record-keeping was so pronounced that dedicated workshops were established to train scribes in the art of agricultural documentation, ensuring that the art of meticulous record-keeping was preserved through generations. Conclusion. In conclusion, the exploration of regional variations, the evolution of practices, bureaucratic regulations, supply chain logistics, and record-keeping methods related to the cleaning of chicken coops and the disposal of feathers paints a vivid picture of the complexity inherent in medieval agricultural life. This seemingly mundane aspect of manor management reveals a world rich with local customs, stringent regulations, and a growing awareness of health and hygiene. The historical trajectory of these practices underscores the interconnectedness of agricultural management, societal norms, and the everyday lives of those who inhabited the medieval landscape. As we continue to unravel the threads of this tedious history, it becomes increasingly clear that even the smallest details, such as chicken coop cleaning timetables, hold the key to understanding the broader tapestry of medieval society. The tedious history of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols, Part 9. Regional variations and comparisons. The practices surrounding chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal varied significantly across different regions of medieval Europe, influenced by local customs, agricultural practices, and the availability of resources. In southern England, for instance, the mild climate allowed for more frequent cleaning regimens compared to the harsher, wetter conditions of northern England, where coops would often remain muddier for longer periods. This necessitated not only a different cleaning schedule but also varied protocols for feather disposal. In the West Midlands, it was customary to employ a communal approach to the maintenance of chicken coops. Villagers would gather every fortnight to clean the coops, an event that became an opportunity for communal bonding. The timing of such gatherings was meticulously scheduled around the lunar calendar, as it was believed that certain phases of the moon were more auspicious for cleaning tasks. In contrast, in the eastern regions, particularly around East Anglia, individual manors tended to adopt a more solitary approach, with manor lords employing specific staff dedicated to the upkeep of the poultry houses. Cleaning schedules here were often dictated by the demands of the market. The proximity to larger towns meant that the coops needed to be presentable for potential buyers of eggs and chickens. Furthermore, in regions like Normandy, the influence of the clergy led to unique cleaning protocols. Monastic chickens, raised in abbeys, were subjected to stringent cleanliness standards, with monks often citing biblical texts to justify their meticulous attention to coop hygiene. The cleaning timetables were often more frequent, with daily inspections and cleanings being documented in the abbey's annals. This contrasts sharply with the more lax practices observed in the rural fiefs of Germany, where chicken coops were sometimes considered merely extensions of the barn, leading to less rigorous cleaning schedules. Evolution over different time periods. The evolution of chicken coop cleaning practices from the early medieval period through the late Middle Ages reflects broader social and technological changes. During the 9th and 10th centuries, when feudalism was solidifying, cleaning practices were largely informal and dictated by the immediate needs of the flock and the availability of labor. The cooperative nature of village life meant that cleaning was often a shared responsibility, with little emphasis placed on formal timetables. By the 12th century, as manorial systems became more structured, so too did the cleaning protocols. The introduction of more sophisticated agricultural practices led to an increased focus on hygiene, driven by the understanding that healthy chickens produced better yields. Consequently, cleaning protocols began to be documented in manor court rolls, signaling a shift toward bureaucratic oversight. The introduction of special cleaning tools, such as wooden scrapers and hand-woven brooms made from straw, also reflected advancements in agricultural technology, allowing for more effective cleaning practices. The late medieval period saw the culmination of these practices into a complex system of regulations. By the 15th century, manorial lords began issuing formal decrees regarding chicken coop cleanliness, often in response to outbreaks of disease such as foulpox. These regulations mandated not only cleaning frequencies but also the proper disposal of feathers and waste. Thus, the evolution of cleaning practices mirrored the broader societal shifts toward increased regulation and record-keeping. Bureaucratic regulations and laws. As the significance of poultry farming grew in medieval society, so too did the bureaucratic framework surrounding it. The establishment of formal regulations regarding chicken coop maintenance can be traced back to the rise of the manorial system, which necessitated clearer governance. Lordships began drafting ordinances that detailed the responsibilities of serfs and villeins concerning coop cleanliness, often intertwined with broader agricultural laws. One notable decree from the late 14th century, known as the Ordinance of Poultry Care, mandated that all poultry keepers must maintain a cleaning schedule that reflected the seasons. This ordinance specified that coops must be cleaned at least once every fortnight during the spring and summer months, while in the autumn and winter, when chickens were less active, cleaning could be reduced to once a month. Furthermore, it included detailed instructions on the proper disposal of feathers, stipulating that they be burned to prevent the spread of disease, a practice that was rigorously enforced through local courts. In addition to local laws, regional variations emerged, with some areas adopting additional layers of regulation. For instance, in the Kingdom of Scotland, the laws surrounding poultry management included provisions for inspections by local magistrates, who would assess the cleanliness of coops and levy fines for non-compliance. These inspections not only served to uphold hygiene but also reinforced the authority of local lords and the evolving bureaucratic structures of the time. Supply chain and logistics. The intricate logistics of chicken coop maintenance and feather disposal reveal a surprisingly complex supply chain that underpinned medieval poultry farming. The movement of materials necessary for cleaning, such as straw, water, and ash, was a coordinated effort that involved multiple stakeholders. Straw, a primary cleaning material, was often sourced from local farmers who would sell or trade their excess stock. The timing of these transactions was crucial. Farmers would typically harvest straw in late summer and store it for use throughout the year, synchronizing their supply with the cleaning schedules of the local manors. Water, another essential resource for maintaining coop hygiene, presented its own challenges. The location of a manor dictated its access to clean water sources. Manors situated near rivers or streams could rely on a relatively straightforward supply chain, while those in arid regions had to develop elaborate systems for water collection and storage. This often involved the construction of communal wells, which required significant labor and coordination among the villagers. The disposal of feathers, a task often overlooked, involved its own logistical hurdles. Feathers were not merely discarded, instead, they were often collected and processed. In regions with a flourishing textile industry, feathers were repurposed into bedding, requiring careful collection and transport to local artisans. This added an additional layer of complexity to the cleaning process, as the timing of feather collection had to align with the cleaning schedule, ensuring that coops were not only cleaned but that the byproducts were effectively utilized. Record-keeping methods. The documentation of chicken coop cleaning schedules and feather disposal protocols evolved alongside the bureaucratic regulations that governed them. Early record-keeping methods were rudimentary, often consisting of simple marks on wooden tablets or tally sticks. As manorial courts began to formalize record-keeping practices in the 12th century, more sophisticated methods emerged. By the 13th century, the use of parchment and ink became common for documenting cleaning schedules. Manorial stewards were often tasked with keeping detailed logs, noting not only the dates of cleanings but also the labor involved, the materials used, and any observations regarding the health of the chickens. These logs, bound in leather and stored in secure manor archives, provided crucial insights into the maintenance of poultry flocks and the effectiveness of cleaning protocols. In addition to formal logs, informal record-keeping practices emerged among villagers. Many households maintained their own cleaning calendars, often marked with symbols or drawings that denoted specific cleaning tasks. These household records, the history of chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols during the medieval period, is a seemingly mundane yet intricately woven narrative that encapsulates the complexities of agricultural life. From regional variations and the evolution of practices over time to the bureaucratic regulations and supply chain logistics that govern these activities, each facet contributes to our understanding of the broader socio-economic context of the medieval era. As we delve deeper into the minutiae of these practices, we gain a richer appreciation for the everyday lives of those who navigated the demands of maintaining not only their poultry but also the intricate systems that underpinned their existence. The tedious history of medieval manor chicken coop cleaning timetables and feather disposal protocols. The medieval period, a time often romanticized for its chivalric quests and grandiose castles, was also characterized by a less glamorous but equally essential aspect of rural life, the maintenance of chicken coops in the feudal manorial system. The seemingly mundane task of cleaning these coops and disposing of the resulting feathers is steeped in a rich, albeit tedious, history that merits a thorough examination. 1. Historical context and the role of minor figures ****. To truly appreciate the intricacies of chicken coop cleaning, one must first acknowledge the social structure of the medieval manor. At the helm was the lord, often a figure of considerable power, yet his direct involvement in the minutiae of farm management was minimal. Below him, however, were a host of lesser-known figures who played crucial roles in the day-to-day operations of the manor. One such figure was the bailiff, an overseer responsible for the manor's agricultural productivity. The bailiff's duties included not only the management of crops and livestock but also the oversight of the coop cleaning timetable. This schedule was often dictated by the seasons and the life cycle of the chickens, with cleaning typically occurring in the late autumn, just before the winter months, when the chickens were less active and their waste could be more easily managed. Another minor yet significant figure was the reeve, a local official appointed by the lord to manage the laborers on the manor. The reeve often took on the responsibility of organizing the labor force required for coop cleaning. This task was no small feat, as it involved coordinating the activities of serfs and villeins, who were required to contribute a certain number of days of labor to the manor each week in exchange for protection and land use. 2. Cleaning timetables. an in-depth analysis ****. The cleaning of chicken coops was not a haphazard affair, it was governed by a strict timetable that adhered to the rhythms of rural life. Each manor would have its unique schedule based on the number of chickens, the size of the coop, and local climatic conditions. For instance, records from the Manor of St. Mary's in the Vale, dating back to 1263, indicate that coop cleaning occurred bi-weekly during the warmer months, specifically in April, June, and August. The rationale behind this frequency was twofold: to maintain the health of the chickens and to minimize the odors that could attract pests. In contrast, during the colder months, cleaning was reduced to once a month, as the low temperatures naturally inhibited the decay of organic matter. The method of cleaning itself was labor-intensive. Villagers would typically use wooden shovels to remove the waste, followed by a thorough scrubbing of the coop's interior with a mixture of water and ashes, which acted as a disinfectant. The process was often accompanied by the communal singing of ballads, a practice evidenced by a primary source from the Chronicles of the Vale, which states, "As the shovels clinked and the brooms swept, the merry tunes of your did echo amidst the foulest of scents." 3. Feather disposal protocols, a deep dive ****. The disposal of feathers, an often overlooked aspect of chicken husbandry, was governed by its own set of protocols. Feathers were not merely waste, they had potential utility which required thoughtful consideration. The disposal process typically involved several steps: collection, sorting, and final disposal. Feathers would first be collected in woven baskets made from rushes. Once collected, the feathers were sorted into categories. Those deemed too damaged for reuse were discarded, while the intact ones were saved for various purposes such as bedding, insulation, or even for making quills for writing. A case study from the Manor of Winterton, dated 1291, reveals that a specific day was set aside for feather disposal, known as Feather Friday. On this day, local women would gather to process the feathers, creating a communal atmosphere that fostered social bonds among the female population of the manor. The Winterton records state, on the eve of Feather Friday, a great stir arises as the women prepare to gather, sharing tales and laughter amidst the plumes. Feathers that were beyond use were often burned in a designated area outside the manor. This practice, documented in the Book of Manorial Customs, emphasizes the need for cleanliness and hygiene, stating, "Let not the foul remnants linger, but be cast into the flames, lest they bring forth the pestilence and ill fortune upon our fowl." 4. Comparative analysis with other regions ****. While the practices concerning chicken coop cleaning and feather disposal in England during the medieval period were fairly standardized, interesting regional variations existed. For instance, in northern France, particularly in the region of Normandy, coop cleaning practices were influenced by the more extensive use of movable coops, known as calabotis. These structures allowed for easier cleaning, as they could be relocated to fresh ground, thereby reducing the need for rigorous cleaning schedules. As a result, the Normans adopted a less frequent cleaning timetable, favoring a monthly cleaning cycle that utilized natural decomposition to manage waste. In contrast, southern European regions, such as Italy, showed a preference for more intricate coops, often adorned with artistic designs. The maintenance of these coops necessitated meticulous cleaning protocols, often involving elaborate rituals to ensure the chickens' well-being. The Italian manuscript of rural practices from the late 14th century provides insight into these practices, noting, "To clean the coop is to honor the fowl, and in honor, one must sing and dance as they scrub away the grime." 5. Archaeological findings and interpretations ****. Archaeological excavations at several medieval manor sites have yielded significant findings regarding chicken coops and their maintenance. Excavations at the Hall of the Rye then, dating back to the early 13th century, uncovered remnants of chicken coops along with associated waste materials. Analysis of the soil layers revealed a high concentration of chicken bones and feathers, indicating periods of intensive chicken husbandry. The presence of charred feathers suggests that the disposal protocols, specifically the burning of unusable feathers, were indeed practiced as documented in the written records. Moreover, the study of coprolites, fossilized feces. Good night, dear listeners. May your sleep be deep and restorative, filled with dreams that carry you to serene landscapes and whispering winds. Remember, the world of medieval chickens and their tender caretakers will be waiting for you whenever you wish to return. Rest well and awaken refreshed, ready to embrace a new day. Sweet dreams.